Alright, this is to show how I'm going to have my balls of thread laid out. They're spaced 6 inches apart. 24 balls. Next I will show the parts to build the frame to hold it all. Alright, first I want to explain the differences between PVC and CPVC. For this project I'm using PVC. It'll always be white. And there are two different types of PVC. There's thin wall and thick wall. Thin wall will be lighter weight, but it'll also be more flexible, so it won't be as strong as the thick wall. And you can tell by the thickness of the wall. These are both thick wall. I don't have any thin walls because I don't buy it or use it. But white is always PVC, and it's used for cold water or drains. The yellow pipe, which is CPVC, is used for hot water under pressure. So you don't want the yellow. You don't need it. For the glue, just get whatever's cheapest, because you're not going to be having any water under pressure, so it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be expensive. It'll save you a few bucks. For this, I'm making my frame out of 3/4 inch PVC. Then I'm going to make all of my dividers out of 1/2 inch. And so I'll have 4 3/4 inch elbows at the corners of my frame. Then to go from the 3/4 to the 1/2 inch pipe like this, I have these 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch tees, and I'll have 6 of those going across because I have 6 colors and I want 6 uprights. And I'll have those at the top too. And when you're doing this, this glue will not come out of anything. If you get it on fabric, it will not come out. It will melt plastic, so don't do it over the top of plastic. You can do it over concrete. It won't come off of the concrete either. So don't do it on a good surface. And don't wear good clothes. It won't hurt if you get it on your hand. You can peel it right off after it dries. Just leave it thick. Don't try to wipe it off. Just let it dry. Then you can peel it off in a big piece, and it won't hurt your skin. It will burn if you get it into a cut. Okay, so for my uprights, where I'll be having the pipes come up like this, I'll have 6 of these. But I need 6 arms, so I'm using 1/2 inch tees. I'm going to turn these upside down so they'll stand up. But each one of these, I bought them in big bags. You buy these big bags of 10, you save a couple cents per fitting. Contractor bag. But this is basically what it'll do. Then once I have these all put together, I'll have an arm come off like this, but shorter. Then I'll put an elbow on the end that I will not glue. I'll just press fit it on there. So, see, that's not going to want to go in there without hitting your thread. So you can pull that off, stick that on, put that back on, and it'll help keep that on there. But it'll be back about here, just long enough to hold the ball and let it spin. So when you're working with this solvent, once you get it on, you coat your pipe with the little brush that's in there. Then you do the inside of the fitting, and it'll make it slide in there, and you just turn it a little bit. You've got about 5 seconds before it sticks. Once it sticks, you cannot move it. So when you're doing all these little pieces, and it's especially important when I'm doing these, that I get all these straight in line with each other, or else they're all going to be cockeyed. So in another video I'll show how a little trick to do to make them, get them all to line up. You use little pieces of this and just stick them in there temporary as you're gluing here and here, so that way you can push it down to make them the same, and you'll do that all the way across, and it'll make all of them straight, so when you stand it up they'll all be perfectly straight. Then you'll just pull these out until you're ready to glue them in. And the same way goes with doing these down here on the end. When I'm gluing the 3/4 inch pipe, I'll do the same thing. And you have to put this together like a puzzle so that the last end will go on, because you can't go around and glue the outside before you glue the inside. You have to leave the end open so you can then get all this glued, then put your top on. And you'll be able to hang this on a wall, or there's another way you could replace these two at the bottom with a T, so it's kind of like going like this but with a bigger fitting there. Then you could put legs on it so it can be freestanding, and you can make this however wide you want or however tall you want, but it'll hold a lot of thread. This will hold 24 balls of thread. Alright, I'm going to show the parts for this. I'll start with the 3/4 inch pipe. These are my side pieces. Got my cut list here that I use when I cut up the pipe. We got 70 pieces. These are 22 inch long. Let's see. I've got 4 at 1.5 inches. These will go at my ends. See, I have a little sketch here of how the pieces get laid out, all the fittings. Oops. That'll go there. Let's see. 4.5 inches. I got 10 of these. 5 will go across the bottom. 5 across the top. Now for my 1/2 inch pieces, I've got 12 1-inch pieces. These will go at the bottom above, changing the 3/4 inch pipe to the 1/2 inch. Let's see, missing one. There. Then also for the 1/2 inch, I've got 18 5-inch pieces and 24 6-inch pieces. There's 6-inch. My 5-inch pieces are the uprights. My 6-inch pieces are the arms. So these will go up and down. Alright, I've got all my pieces laid out in the groups for the uprights. Takes 3 5-inch pieces, 2 1-inch pieces, and 4 1/2-inch T fittings. Keep everything separate and in their own groups, because it'll be easy to mix up the 5-inch pieces with the 6-inch arms. I'm going to start gluing. The 1-inch goes at the top and the bottom with the 5-inch between each elbow. So I'll go ahead and do one end on an elbow. Just turn it a couple times. You got about 5 seconds before it sets up. Once it sets up, you won't be able to turn it at all. And don't get any glue on any other ends other than the one you're working with. And don't worry about it dripping all over. As long as you're on a surface that you can throw away, you'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and wipe the excess off of this. So I need to be able to get that into this for the bottom. One more bottom piece. Oop, barely got any sticking out on that one. But that's okay, it doesn't have to be all the way in. So now I'm going to start lining these up. One little short one on the bottom, one on the top. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 4 of my arms and just temporarily stick them in there. Don't get any of this excess glue on these, or else you'll never get these out when it's time to glue them in. So now I'm going to glue this joint. See, what you want to do is get it on there real fast, twist it, then push it down. That's going to make these at the same angle so they're not twisted. Give that a second. Then I'm going to do my next one. Give it a little twist, push it down. So now they're all 3 in line. And my last one. See, now they're all in line because I temporarily put the arms in there, and that's what it's going to look like sticking out from the wall with elbow on there. And my thread will sit right there, and there'll be 6 rows of these going across. Alright, the next part, I'm going to go ahead and glue all of my arms in. One thing to remember when working with PVC glue is to do it in a well ventilated area because the fumes are very strong. Got all my arms, 24 of them. Make sure they're all the same. This will go relatively quick. A little dab there, a little dab there. Push it in, turn it. And when you're using the glue, wipe it off on the edge of the can so you don't drip it all over the place. And now, see, they're all pretty much perfectly straight from when I temporarily had these in when I was gluing the elbow or the T's in. That's what you want them to look like that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put together my bottom piece the same way I did the uprights. You only want to do the bottom piece. You don't want to do the top piece right now, because you would need to have like 6 or 7 hands to be able to get the top on if you have it all glued together. The top part will be assembled one piece at a time after everything else gets assembled. But I'm going to do this the same way I did those, using scrap pieces to help me line everything up perfectly. I've only got 5 scrap pieces, so I'm going to have to move one of them when I get to that part, and I'm going to use the actual end pieces to help line those up. So those are all just press fit in there. But I'll go ahead and start gluing this up. Try not to get any glue on anything that you're not gluing, especially on the ends, because if glue dries on there, you won't be able to get it inside of your fitting. Alright. Now I'll start with these, leaving all my little upright scraps and stuff just press fit in to help me line it up. These will be a little bit off the ground since this is 1/2 inch pipe. See if I pull this out. I got that one in there pretty straight. If I can pull this one out. And remember, you got a very short amount of time to get these in here and lined up straight. This glue sets up very quickly. See, I'm doing it by eye too, in addition to having these in here. Because these are all different lengths, so it's not going to push down evenly. You can just look down your row to make sure they're all even. got to get it lined up really quick. So I'll move this one down here. That's not too bad. Oops. There we go. It's not perfect. But this stuff's flexible, so it has a little bit of a give to it. So if it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world. These corner ones are kind of important. You want to make sure those are even, straight. You can go ahead and do the side pieces here. Alright, that's your bottom frame. Next we, see, I don't have that perfect, but it's okay, it'll bend a little bit. Next we'll do the uprights into the frame. These you have to do by eye. Just look at it and make sure it's standing upright. These are pretty easy to get lined up straight. One more. Now the fumes are starting to get to me, so I'm going to take a break. Alright, now I'm going to work on the top piece, now that I've got the majority of everything finished. So what I'm going to do first, I need to make sure my first elbow, my little piece, and my first T are perfectly aligned. So I'm going to use some scrap pieces in here to help me get them lined up when I glue these joints. Now that I got those in there, I can take this out. Now I'm going to start gluing together the top of the frame. this one. So doing it like this, then you only have to deal with 2 joints at once. If you went ahead and put together the entire top piece and then tried to put it on, you would have a hard time lining everything up. So you want to do the top frame just a little at a time. I gotta go this way. Let's see, let's do another. Okay, on this, you want to get your little 1/2 inch on there first before you try to put the 3/4 in. So go ahead and get this one on first, then slip it down. There it goes. This one wants to slide off, so I'm going to hold it for a little bit. There. That's how fast that stuff sets up. So you only got you got less than 5 seconds to get it lined up the way you need it. Once that grabs, you cannot adjust it. Alright. Do your 1/2 inch first. Very hard. My last 2 pieces. That's it. Once I let this dry for a little while, I'll show you what it looks like with all the thread on and the last elbows. Each arm will get 1 elbow, but you do not want to glue these. You just push them on, press fit, it'll keep your thread from coming off. Then when you need to change the ball of thread, you just pull it off, put your new one on. So do not glue these. Alright, I am going to go ahead and load this up. I'm not going to take off the labels and the plastic on the yarn just yet. I'm going to wait till I start my project. I've got 24 elbows, 1/2 inch elbows. I'll stick one on the end of each arm. We're not going to glue these because you want to be able to get these off. Just have them face up. These are just to hold the ball onto the arm. Keep it from slipping off. They don't have to be perfect. It's getting a little bit of weight to it. That's it. So they'll all spin. They fit between the fittings. There's enough room in there. It's not up on the fittings, but it fits right between them. That's all there is to it.